Revenant is directed by Alejandro G. Iñárritu, the director of Birdman last year, which won Best Picture. And this movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Will Poulter, Domhnall Gleeson, lots and lots of people in this movie, so obviously there's a lot of hype for this thing. What this movie's about is a man played by Hugh Glass, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, is left for dead after being attacked by a bear, and after that he starts this path of revenge against Tom Hardy, who left him. And going into this movie, I didn't know a whole lot. I know it's based on a true story. I didn't know all of the events that happened. I love the trailers for this movie. They look so intense and brutal, and I gotta say, I love The Revenant. I am so glad that I saw this movie before the end of the year because it is one of my favorites. It is so incredible. I love this movie. Before I get into anything, I need to absolutely tell you that the cinematography is just gorgeous. Everything about this movie is beautiful to look at. I don't know the name of the cinematographer of this movie, but he did a fantastic job, and Alejandro G. Iñárritu did a fantastic job directing those shots, directing the actors, because they also have a couple takes where it's just non-cutting for a long period of time. Like you have a 5-minute escape sequence. Basically, Leonardo DiCaprio and his men are like escaping from these Indians that are hunting them down, and the camera for a certain amount of time doesn't cut. Like for the last 5 minutes of that scene, it was so brutal and intense. Beautifully directed. The director did a fantastic job. And just the cinematography really just showed off the landscape well. I was blown away by the visuals of this movie. Alright, visuals out of the way. How was the performances? Terrific. I loved everyone in this movie. They were all on their A-game, including Leonardo DiCaprio, who, for God's sake, deserves his Oscar by now. Seriously, Academy, you need to nominate him, and then he needs to win. That's pretty much it. Leo needs to win his Oscar for this year. He deserves it at this point. I felt heartbroken a couple times when I saw what Leo was going through. Just, because he goes through a lot. I don't want to spoil anything. You already know what happens to him and the bear, but a couple other things too, and it's just like, jeez. You really do feel bad for this poor man. Not only for him not winning an Oscar ever, but for what he did in this movie. And speaking of that bear, that scene is honestly, it's the best scene of the year, maybe. It's so incredibly intense and brutal. Whoa. Words honestly cannot describe how amazing the bear scene in this movie was. It was great. I loved it. Tom Hardy in this movie is also very good. I don't know if this is my favorite performance by him because he's done a couple good performances in the past, but it's definitely a best. I hope he gets nominated for something. I gotta mention this. Will Poulter surprised me in this movie because I've only seen him in Maze Runner and We're the Millers, I think. I think those are the only two movies I've seen him in, and I loved him in this movie. Way better than both of those movies combined. He brought his A-game. I can't wait to see more of Will Poulter in the future. He is so great. And Domhnall Gleeson, he was very good. This is pretty much the year of Domhnall Gleeson. He's had 4 movies. This, Star Wars, he was General Hux, Brooklyn, and Ex Machina. So, it's the year of Domhnall Gleeson, apparently. Good job, man. But yeah, everyone was on their A-game. No actor did a bad job whatsoever. I was enthralled by this movie for the entire runtime. I honestly was never bored. I thought everything was great, and the ending of this film honestly was nail-biting and suspenseful, and I loved it. I would recommend that if you're not the best person when it comes to brutal stuff, that maybe you don't check this movie out because you will probably have a heart attack somewhere in the movie. Because what happens in this film, it's not for some people that can't handle all of that stuff. So if you can handle some brutal stuff, then go see The Revenant at once. If you can't, you might want to steer clear. However, I am definitely going to give The Revenant an A+. I honestly don't have a single flaw with this film. I absolutely adored it. If you saw The Revenant, leave in the comments below what you thought of it, and I'm gonna have one more review for The Hateful Eight, and then tomorrow I'm going to be filming and editing and uploading my top 10 best and worst of 2015. I've been catching up on some movies recently, so I think I've got a pretty good list here. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.